Hi Sasha, what brings you in today?
Um, Lately, I've been feeling overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
At home, I'm a teacher. I deal with kids every day, and I'm coming home and I still gotta cook, I still gotta clean. I'm also pregnant, so it's a lot. And my husband never helps with anything.
Yeah, that does sound like a lot to work all day and then come home and still be working, essentially.
Yeah, I'm tired and I don't know what to do. Every time I bring it up to my husband, he always argues with me.
Yeah, that can be really exhausting. Um, Tell me more about that.
Anytime I bring up cleaning, he's just so, I don't know how to explain it. The way he speaks, it seems aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
even though he's never been aggressive to me. I think that comes from my past trauma of being
Mm-hmm.
in a domestic violence relationship. But he's always so sweet and attentive, and he's always nice. So when he's arguing and he has his hands in my face, I just get scared and triggered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that does sound really scary. To have that aggressive behavior when you've already experienced it once before. Yeah, that can be pretty triggering. Tell me more about um, like how these arguments start. Like, is it just about you mentioning cleaning around the house, or
It's not just about cleaning. It's about everything. I feel like I'm doing everything and I
mm-hmm.
have no help. In growing up, coming from an urban area where, when it comes to my family, I was the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
I had to cook, I had to clean, I had to do school. I already had to do everything myself.
Mm-hmm.
I thought once I got married, life would be easier. And it
Mm-hmm.
was. He was helping. But now he's just, I feel like he changed on me once we had kids.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about that he changed when you had kids.
It seemed like once we had kids, he just expected me to kind of be more a traditional woman. He
Mm-hmm.
wanted me to cook, he wanted me to clean, he wanted me to take care of the kids. But I also have a job on top of that.
Yeah.
He keeps talking about his job, but he gets home and all he does is sleep.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I don't even know what to do about my marriage. Like, even the kids, they always come up to me and they ask me for help. They don't even feel comfortable talking to him, asking him for help.
Wow, that can be really exhausting. And you've always had this expectation that you were the one to be responsible for everything. And I'm hearing that you thought once you got married, and at first your husband was helpful, but not really anymore.
Yeah, and growing up, I was adopted.
Mm-hmm.
So, being a black woman in a white family, I
Mm-hmm.
never knew who I was. I struggled trying to find my identity.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, being married to a white man, I wonder if he even understands my identity or the way I grew up, whether he's caring about that or
Mm-hmm.
not. Sometimes I feel like he doesn't see me.
Yeah, that sounds really isolating. Would you agree with that or not so much?
Yeah, it does feel very isolating. His mother also doesn't like me. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I kind of feel left out. I'm stuck trying to find my identity outside of
Mm-hmm.
being a provider and a strong black woman, a
Mm-hmm.
strong mother. I don't know who I am without that.
Yeah. Yeah, we see a lot this, strong black woman stereotype is really exhausting. It's very unfair.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know, I just want to be somewhere else. I
Yeah.
imagine what my life would be if I did things differently.
Tell me more about that. What your imagined life would be like.
My imagined life would be me being in a stable marriage where it's not just about him,
Mhm.
me having a partner who's equal, who's helping me take care of things around the house, me having less responsibilities at work, and probably spending more time with my kids. I love being a mom, but I also have to pay bills, so.
Yeah, that sounds, on one hand, really beautiful, having all these things that you enjoy, but on the same hand, reality kind of seems to get in the way of that.
Yeah. I'm also 7 months pregnant, so it's kind of hard trying to do everything. Sometimes I could barely move. I could barely get up the steps in our house by myself, and he's just laying there doing nothing or watching football or playing video games.
Yeah, that's really hard, being pregnant on top of everything just kind of complicates it. When you're struggling around the house and you see that he's kind of just lying there, what kind of feelings come up for you?
I get angry, sad, frustrated. Sometimes I just want to scream, but I can't do that in front of the kids.
Man, that sounds really heavy. Can I ask more about your kids?
I have a 2-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter.
Oh, that's very sweet. How do you feel when, you're kind of come home and you're kind of taking care of them?
I enjoy taking care of my kids. It just gets tiring sometimes.
Yeah.
I grew up in an orphanage, so it took a while before I got adopted at 10, and I want to give my kids a better life than what I had. So even though it's a struggle, I keep pushing so that they have better than what I did. I don't want them to be around any aggressiveness like I did growing up. I want them to be happy, and I want them to be kids.
That's a really beautiful aspiration. It's great to want better things for your kids. Can I ask more about the orphanage and how you grew up?
The orphanage was a lot. It was like me and 100 other kids in one small building, just like sharing a room with 20 other kids. And the people who were in the orphanage were also very racist. They were aggressive towards us kids, often abusing us. It got to the point where I'd do anything to run away, and I did try to run away a couple of times. They kept bringing me back though. It felt isolated at that point. Like I felt like I couldn't get out. So when I got adopted, I thought, wow, this would be so much better than being abused.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying. How was it when you were adopted?
When I was adopted, it felt good. It felt like I finally had a family for once, and I didn't feel so isolated. My mother and father were amazing people. They worked a lot. They did the best they could to take care of us. I had 2 older brothers, and I was the only sister. They were very overprotective, so it felt like I had a good family. But my parents were never really inside the house because they were so busy working. My mom was a lawyer. My dad was a police officer. They were always working, so even though I had a family, I kind of felt like I was alone still.
Yeah, that does sound like it's still isolating, just in a different way.
And then dealing with school, my brothers were overprotective, but they didn't see the small parts. So like me getting bullied for being different, me being one of the only black kids in a white private school. I mean, I was always smart, but I got made fun of for being smart. and I just wanted to be friends with everyone, and they never accepted me. They always pointed out my differences, or my hair didn't look like theirs. I struggled to figure out who I wanted to be. It came to the point where I started to straighten my hair a lot and try to act like them, change who I was to fit in.
Yeah. So going to an all-white school and then coming home to an all-white family, how did that feel?
It kind of felt like nobody understood my internal struggles. I felt more isolated in the way I'm supposed to have a family. Like, my family is supposed to be there for me. I brought this up to my mom and my dad, and they didn't understand the culture or anything, so I still felt alone. Seems like my whole life I felt alone.
That sounds, like we've been saying, very, very isolating. There was no kind of outlet to be validated, someone that could validate your experiences as at that point a young black girl and now a black woman in an interracial marriage.
Yeah. I just don't know what to do. I feel like I've always talked to people properly. I try to tell them how I feel, advocate for myself, but there's no actual change. I don't even know if I should be married anymore.
Yeah, that sounds really, really frustrating. Feels like you say there's nowhere to go, or like you don't know what to do at this point. Yeah, that can be pretty scary.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I need to not be married. Maybe I need to find myself.
Yeah. Tell me more about that. When did these kind of thoughts of no longer wanting to be in this relationship, when did they start?
I say they started like 6 months ago.
Okay.
I've been trying to manage, trying to be this good, perfect wife, and nobody is perfect. I'm trying to be there for my kids, and sometimes I think my kids are the only reason why I stay in this marriage. I want them to grow up in a 2-parent household, have some type of structure.
Yeah, it sounds like, you've been kind of struggling with all these unrealistic expectations, and you've been talking a lot about identity and not really being able to find yourself within all these unrealistic expectations. It can, be really exhausting. And I forgot what I was gonna say. So you mentioned 6 months ago is when you kind of had these thoughts of no longer wanting to be in this relationship. What was going on around that time?
Around that time, that's when the arguments got worse. And I don't know, he kind of scared me. He punched the wall. I've never seen him act like that. And he said that I shouldn't talk back to him, that I should just listen. And I've never been that type of person. I always stand up for myself. I always stand up for other people. So in that moment, I was scared, and I didn't know what to do. And then my kids are crying in the other room as they're seeing this. It's like, this shouldn't be something that my children are seeing. So in that moment, I realized, is this really best for me and my children? I'm still just also finding out that I'm pregnant. For our first 2 pregnancies, he was very excited, happy to be a dad. But when I announced that I was pregnant this time, it was just anger. Called me lazy. He said we didn't deserve to have another child, and that he wanted me to have an abortion.
And how did you feel about him saying that?
I was angry and I was annoyed. I just argued back more. And then I told him I would never get rid of my child. And if he liked that or not would be dependent on whether I leave or not. I think that's when I finally had the courage to be like, it's okay to leave. As long as my kids' lives are good. I don't care what happens to me.
Wow. It's really heavy when you're talking about, him punching the wall and your children seeing that. And above all of this, you want them to have these better experiences than you did growing up. Did these past experiences, did they kind of resurface for you in these last few months as your husband's been getting, I guess, a little more aggressive?
Yeah, it did. I kind of felt like I was back with the old person that I was with. It kind of felt like I was in a frozen moment as I was in the past when I was dealing with domestic violence. But in the back of my head, I was also thinking he would never hurt me. He's not that type of person. And that's why he hit the wall. I kind of felt like I was making excuses for him at that point, and that shouldn't be. But also, I was so angry that I didn't care what he did. I just wanted to make sure my kids were okay. Working in a school, I see all these happy kids with good families and two-parent households, and they seem like their lives are perfect. And I just want to give that to my kids.
Yeah, you really love your kids. I can definitely see that you want what's best for them. Where are you now in your thinking process of maybe ending this relationship?
I think I really need to leave. I've already kind of started looking for other places. I just don't know how I'm gonna manage after I actually give birth and working, dealing with an infant, and paying bills at the same time.
Yeah. Are you, still in touch with your adoptive family? Do you consider them kind of like a support system?
Yeah, I'm still in touch with them. I do consider them a support system. When I was in the first domestic violence relationship, my brother did take things into his own hands, and my father did make sure he got arrested. So I did feel safe at one point. I don't know, I kind of don't want to burden my family. I'm used to being so strong and independent that I don't want my family to take care of me.
It's a really heavy feeling. Tell me more about this, feeling of being a burden.
I don't know, I've just always handled things growing up. And anytime I helped somebody or they tried to help me, I kind of felt like I was a burden. I felt like I wasn't enough because I don't know, I just felt like I was always bothering them because I was always handling things so well by myself. It was one of the traits that my family said they loved about me. But after experiencing all of that, when I called my family for help, I don't know, sometimes I feel like they look at me with disgust when I ask for help. I don't know if that's just in my head or is it true?
Yeah, can I ask more about that? Like this feeling that they're of disgust?
I don't know, after growing up in an orphanage and dealing with domestic violence, I kind of always felt disgusting when I asked people for help. It felt weird, it feels sick when I ask for help. Even just coming into therapy, it was hard for me to realize, okay, I need help. I need to make a change in my life before things get really bad.
Yeah. How are you feeling right now, talking to me?
Right now, it feels okay. I feel heard and seen, which is something that I don't really feel often. And is bringing up a lot of realizations and emotions for me, but I still don't know what to do, and I feel like I'm stuck in a dark place, wondering what other help I can get.
Yeah, what other help you can get. Sounds like, your family is kind of a support system, but any kind of help, it seems, makes you feel like a burden or this feeling of disgust or sickness. Um, can I ask more about like this plan that you have to leave your husband?
It's not a full plan, it's not set in motion, but I plan to move out, and once I move out and I get my kids out, I plan to leave while he's at work so there's no clash. And once I move out and I'm to a safe place, I'm going to call him and tell him that I want a divorce and he needs to sign the divorce papers. I don't want any of his money. I just want to leave amicably and co-parent so he does his part as a father. And I hope that when he sees that I leave, that his laziness stops and he finally takes care of the kids.
Yeah, that's a really good aspiration to have. What do you think his reaction might be? I know we've talked a little bit about 6 months ago he started to become a little aggressive, and that worries me a little bit.
I don't know. I think he might be a little aggressive. I hope not. But this is why I plan to be in another location. So when I do tell him, I'm not there to, me or the kids aren't there to be the brink of his aggression or take his aggression.
Okay. And do you plan on telling your family about this? Maybe you said in the first instance of domestic violence, that relationship, your dad and your brother backed you up. Are you hoping for that again in this situation?
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know how to approach them about it. What do you think could help?
Yeah, that can be a really difficult conversation. It seems like it went well in the past, like they did have your back. Again, bringing this up can be difficult. How did you kind of bring it up to them the first time?
Well, the first time I was kind of panicked when I called them. I was scared that the person was going to kill me. So I just called them and I was kind of crying and scared. And when I called them, they just came over. But I don't want to be like that again when I approach them about my divorce.
Yeah, it sounds like you want to be a little more like calm. You want to have a more like stable situation.
Yeah.
Okay. You asked me what I would do or what I think you should do. I think it seems like from what you've been telling me that your family cares about you and they want to kind of protect you. I don't want to say I think. It seems like it would be beneficial to reach out to them when you feel ready, to kind of make them aware of the situation. And if you feel like you need them to kind of help you move out, like to be there for like extra security, what do you kind of think of that?
I think that's a good idea. I think it would be amazing for them to be there as my security. I think that would also show him that I'm not alone. Like, I have people that would be there for me. They would protect me. So he knows that his behavior is not okay. And how important me and my kids are. Maybe it will get him to stop being lazy.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be a really powerful insight for him.
Yeah, thank you. I feel heard and I feel seen, so thank you for helping me.
You're welcome. I'm glad that you feel heard and seen. It's something that you definitely deserve to feel.
Thank you so much for this session.
No problem. See you next week.